Well, today is finally another big day for getting a lot of stuff done to the Cobra. I got a call from the shop owner, or a text just recently, saying that they are all caught up on work and he could take my car in. They're really backlogged, so only existing customers, which luckily I fell under that umbrella, are the only ones that are getting into the shop right now because they're just so tied up with builds and everything else that they just can't take on any additional work. But they are now caught up. It's April 1st. Not an April Fool's Day joke that I'm out driving the Cobra in the rain, because it is raining and it sucks. It's springtime in New England. What are you going to do? It's like, it rains so much in the springtime, but I guess I'd rather have it now than the summertime. But you can see some of the parts there on the back seat. The clutch and everything is right here on the passenger seat. The wide bando 2, the 26 spline input shaft is down on the floor. All that stuff back there is suspension stuff, isolators and stuff like that. If you hear some clanking on the video at all, that's the springs bouncing around behind me and behind my seat. I'd say that this is a big day for the Cobra because it's finally going to the shop and resolving one of the biggest problems that I've had with this car since I bought it. And those of you that have been here a while already know what I'm going to say. But for those of you that are new to the channel or just checking out this video for the first time, the suspension sucks on this thing so bad. I wish there was a way I could explain to people how much it really sucks. But the only way to really know is to go for a ride or actually drive it. It's sitting on coilovers, and of course everyone thinks, oh, coilovers, it's so awesome. No, these ones suck because they're road race coilovers, not meant for street use. They're a race level 3 coilover, so they don't handle that good for regular street driving type of scenario. And the suspension that I have now is more of a traditional coil and shock spring setup in that sense. So it's not as good as like a regular, better coilover setup for street driving, but it's definitely a better compromise over what I currently has right now. It's just a shame, you know, I've had this car since August of 2020, and ever since then it's just ridden like crap because of the suspension. And the reason why it has this suspension in there is because it was road raced by the previous owner at Sebring, which for that type of thing, awesome, great choice for doing that, for that suspension setup. But for road driving, especially up here in New England, it doesn't fit very well at all. The other big thing going in is the RXT twin disc clutch, which is a 26 spline clutch and the 26 spline input shaft. That's a big deal to me because I'm not really sure if I've really felt all of the power this car has now with the VMP Gen 3R on it. I have a sneaky suspicion that the clutch has probably slipped quite a bit when I've gotten on the car hard. I haven't smelled clutch. There were a few times where I did, but normally driving it, even when driving it pretty hard, it seemed to hold pretty well, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't some slip with it. So I'm kind of wondering what it's going to be like with the RXT once it's broken in and I really hammer on it and that clutch grabs hard and I really feel all that power being sent to the rear wheels, what it will actually feel like at that point. You can probably hear the rain hitting the window. I tried to go down to the shop. It's like an hour and 20 minutes away from me. I have a family member meeting me there to pick me up and drive me back home. And I tried to avoid the rain. It was supposed to stop raining by now, but it didn't. And it just sucks because this is way too much horsepower. And it has Toyo R888Rs on the back. And it's just not a good situation at all to be in. You'll hear people say a lot that you can't drive R888Rs in the rain. Here I am with 700 horsepower driving in the rain. I have a feeling that a lot of people that have trouble with R888Rs in the rain are people that have never driven in adverse conditions before as far as weather. I live in the Northeast, it snows up here, I'm used to crappy roads, crappy driving conditions. I'm used to adverse driving conditions and things like that. So I know how to drive the car when it rains with a very soft tire on the back, it doesn't get much traction. So I've been caught in the rain before with these tires and I haven't had any problems. But I think some people just aren't very well versed in how to drive a higher horsepower vehicle with not so good traction with the tires that it may have in weather conditions like this. Also, the benefit to living where I do too is all these roads are crowned, which means there's a little bit of a grade to them on each side, so all the water dissipates on each side of the road. It rolls off as it rains. I know like down south in the areas like that, the roads are flat and the water will pool, so you end up hydroplaning a lot easier. So I think that's a lot of the reason why people have issues in the rain with tires like this as well. Of course, those of you that have been on the channel for a while, you know that the car was stuck at the shop for a long time last summer. I lost the entire summer because of problems with the car while it was at the shop. It wasn't the shop's fault at all. It was issues that came up while it was there because of parts that I had bought. I'm not going to go into the whole story now. Those of you that have been here a while know it. If you want to know the story, leave a comment and I'll explain it. The plan now is for the car not to be gone that amount of time. The turnaround shouldn't be that bad. I don't think the Cobra will get stuck in purgatory this time like it did last summer. The biggest thing being done is the transmission coming out for the 26 spline input shaft. I'm not sure how involved that is to get that put in, but other than that, it's just a reverse of putting everything back together, putting the clutch on, and the suspension is pretty damn easy. I probably could have done that at my house, but right up until now, it really wasn't warm enough to really be out there working on it and to be comfortable. And the car's going to the shop anyway. I'm just going to have them throw the springs and the shocks and struts and all that on, and it's just easier. Hopefully the shop is open like I just said before. When I dropped it off last spring, there was no one there. They weren't open at the time. There's some really nice cars there. If I can get some video of a couple of them, I'll try and do that, but it all depends if anyone's there or not, so we'll see when I get there. Hopefully after all these upgrades are done, and I have the proper clutch in here to handle this power and everything, I'll be able to race a few things that are a little bit higher on the food chain than the WRX that I completely smoked last summer. I really wish I had that on video. You guys have to take my word for it. It was extremely embarrassing for him. But I do have bigger things in mind than just Subarus and stuff like that. At least the rain stopped, so that's a plus. The roads absolutely suck, especially the roads I'm on now. Every time in the springtime, frost heaves, all that crap, these roads are terrible. I'm trying my best not to scrape on stuff, but sometimes it comes up so quick, not a lot you can do about it. But that's the other problem with early spring driving like this, is that the roads haven't settled down yet from all the frost heaves from the wintertime. I'm about 37 minutes away from the shop where I am right now, so I'll pick this back up. I'll either close it out at the shop or I'll close it out after I get home later on in the day. I'm at the shop. I just wanted to show you a few of the cars here. I'm not sure the power this one has, but definitely has a nasty either turbo setup or a pro charger on it. And one over there, getting some stuff done, old Fox body there. But the one I really wanted to show you guys is this one right here. This is Aaron's Mach 1. If it was in the shop with the hood up, I could show you more, but it's got a fully built engine with a big nasty turbo on it. The thing is really, really nice. Maybe someday I'll get to do an actual video on this thing. It'd be pretty cool if I could. And there's my Cobra. Be at the shop for a while, so say goodbye to the Cobra. See you again in a little while.